Welcome back. Coming up in 128 here on Wednesday afternoon. This is our continuing coverage of breaking news at the Brown Bear Daycare in Hopkins, where we have 3 people dead, a man, a woman, and a young child. And all believed to be a part of the same family. We have had our reporters, of course, out on the scene since about 9 o'clock this morning. We do know that they are believed to be the daycare owners, the adults are, and those are the people who are now deceased and lived at that home. This is at 236 Tyler Avenue North, and that is what you're looking at on your map there. We have seen this scene just sort of stretched out over a couple of blocks there, and that's sort of what you're looking at too as well for some perspective. We have had our reporters out on the scene. Corin Hoggard has been one of them. He is joining us now. Corin, I understand you have some new information.
Sure, Simone and Tim, I actually just talked to a woman who has a child who has attended child care at that facility for the last 6 years. She described herself as a friend to the woman who owns and runs that daycare. She described the child care owner as just a very intelligent but passive woman. She has a master's degree in early childhood education and was working towards another one in speech pathology. But she said she knew that things were kind of off in the family there, that there were potentially abuse issues going on. And this morning at 8:45 a.m., just maybe 20 minutes before all this happened, she got a text from the woman who runs that daycare. Now, her son was not at daycare today, but she got a text saying that things were crazy, that she was gonna go to 2 days a week with this woman's son. But she also said that she was going to close this daycare as of August 27th. And the reason for that, according to this woman, is that that house down there belongs to the husband and not the wife. And the wife was going to leave the husband and therefore could not any longer run the daycare out of that house. And so that kind of gives you a timeline there, August 27th just being a couple weeks away now. Of why things were coming to a head. One more thing I want to point out that she mentioned to me is we can see there's a Nissan that's facing this direction. It's got its headlights on still. It is on the wrong side of the street there, and last I checked it seemed to still be running. Well, that vehicle was belonged to the woman who ran the child care, according to her friend who also had a son who went there. And so that kind of jives with the witness report that I got from a neighbor across the street who said she saw the man pulling up in that vehicle and then running inside the house shortly before 9 a.m. today. And so starting to kind of put the pieces together here. Of course, the police will update us, and the chief this morning could not or would not confirm that there was any kind of police chase involved, but that is what a neighbor who witnessed this parking said. She saw him park there, run inside the house, and then shortly after that saw who she believed to be Hennepin County sheriffs following him, but not quite going inside the house, just stopping there, at least for a short time frame, and then later on going in the house and taking all the children out.
Corin, the mother that you talked to who had a child at this daycare for 6 years, was he still a student there?
He is, and they were going to start to go 2 days a week. He was typically going 1 day a week, but he was, and was he there this morning, and is he okay now? He was not, and he is okay, but she was worried. This is obviously something that touched very close to home. She said it, could have been there, would have been there yesterday, but not today. But they were kind of working out a schedule where she could leave her son there a little bit extra over the next 2 weeks while this place was still open. But it was, again, the plan was to close. I saw the text message. The plan was to close this place on August 27th.
Wow, and just to think of that piece of information is really chilling. I'm imagining, Corin, she had to be shaken up. How was that woman as far as her response to this?
She was angry.
Yeah.
She was a little bit, shocked and, concerned for her own son, although he is safe, but just to think of what could have been. But she was angry. You know, she said this is a situation where, you know, a woman who she described as passive in all aspects of her life, literally was teaching her son the difference between passive and aggressive people, and her young son identified the woman who runs this childcare as someone who was passive. This mother said that made her a perfect childcare owner. She said she was the best parent, the best childcare attendee, and just one of the best people she knew, a good friend, and she was very angry that this was how her life ended and her daughter's life ended.
Yeah, more often than not, the people who, you know, the teachers, the daycare owners, the people who run these sort of establishments are good people, and they want the best care for their children. So I can only imagine it was the same in this particular incident. And I think we see this often too, Corin, and you can speak to this because you've been a reporter and you've covered some of these incidents, but the domestic incidents, where they get so close to, it sounded like she was close to the finish line, right? Okay, I plan to close it at this date. What, that's in a couple of weeks at this point. So then to think about that, and we're almost to that date, and this happens to her child, her family, is just so heartbreaking.
And Corin, this conversation that you had with a neighbor clearly indicates, in the text message that you saw, was that this relationship was under some stress already.
Right, and I think when you have kind of that finish line in mind, you know, it just kind of heightens tensions too, and that's an unfortunate situation there where, you know, she couldn't protect herself or her daughter, you know, just for a couple more weeks to get to safety somehow. And yeah, that's very much a tragedy here. You know, she said also that she's hearing from other parents that the other children who were there at least saw the first two homicides, and then the suicide occurred in the garage, and they would have heard that but wouldn't have seen it. But that just makes this, you know, another layer of tragic, because now you have 6 children who have that in their brains. Hopefully, you know, they're young enough to forget, but who knows if they can or how long that might take.
Yeah, we were just, Corin, right before you joined us, we had a wonderful conversation with a child psychologist who said that oftentimes these children, they may not talk about it, right? And it's important to let them process this and help them along the way too. So I'm hoping we can replay that interview here yet this afternoon, because it was very good and some very helpful bits of advice, I think, for all of us who are parents. Maybe not young students, but certainly older ones too.
Yeah, Corin, you have a daughter. I mean, you can speak to that. I'm sure you have dropped your daughter off. Of course, your daughter is older now, but I think a lot of us parents, when you see this sort of story, your heart just sinks. And then you think about this incident of, oh my gosh, she was almost to the end, to where, you know, she could have been living a happy life after this.
Right.
But again, as Corin mentioned, you know, sometimes the worst happens at the very end because that person knows that it's coming, which is so unfortunate. Corin, I'm curious, have you seen any other, because of course you have this woman, a daughter, and then the husband, have you seen any other family members maybe around, show up to the scene, anything like that?
No, I've pretty much talked to everybody who's come up to these to this police tape. None of them, except for the one, have direct involvement there. I've talked to plenty of neighbors. I've been walking around the neighborhood whenever I'm not on air with y'all, and try to talk to as many as possible. I mean, the bottom line here is that nobody knew this was going on outside of the walls of that house, and nobody heard when it actually did. And so, you know, pretty frightening. But I did, you know, a lot of the neighbors down this way say that they don't really know each other. They don't know their neighbors all that well. They recognize people who come and go, but they don't really know them. They don't know them by name. Again, literally the notary on the refinance of my house loan lives right next door. She doesn't know them. She would recognize them, but she doesn't know them. Yeah. The woman who lived across the street, who described a lot of the scene before what happened inside. Said she recognized the man running inside, but she doesn't know them by name, and she doesn't know everybody's relationship. Talked to a couple other folks who live down this way. Same thing. A lot of them seem to know each other by face, but not by name.
And that's a reflection of today's society, too. I mean, think about our own neighborhoods. We know our own neighbors. Many of them, if we don't know them by name, we know them by face.
Absolutely.
Or run into them. We know their dogs' names before we know their names, because we run into them on the sidewalk when we're out walking or running in the morning, too.
Yeah,
so,
it's not abnormal at all.
Right. Extraordinary reporting on a very difficult subject out there today, Corin. Thanks for everything you've done to help us learn and process a little more about what took place there.
And that just goes to show. I mean, Corin has been there since early this morning, and with the information that he started with and just what he has come across in the last several hours, you know, that's what happens, and that's what reporters do. We try to gather this sort of information and then distribute that information to our viewers, and we have done that over the last few hours. It is about 1:39 right now. I think we have to fit in a break, and coming up after the break, we're going to have more on this incident that happened, unfortunately, in Hopkins.